Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB and today is the 8th of November 2022. And guys, this week is going to be the most crucial week for cryptocurrencies, and there are two massive news that are going to take place this particular week. On 8th of November, that is today, there is midterm elections in US, and I do think that will have a significant impact on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And just 2 days after that, that is on the 10th of November, the CPI index will be out. Now listen guys, if you do want to look at CPI numbers or inflation numbers, the official website is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And funny enough, in LinkedIn, I did have a poll and I asked people where do they check the inflation numbers from, and I had 6 or 8 options, and believe it or not guys, the least option selected was the Bureau of Labor Statistics website. So guys, listen, it's so critical when you're looking at information that you need to look at information from the first source. Now regarding inflation, the only website I would recommend you to check is the Bureau of Labor Statistics website. Now in today's episode, we are very briefly going to talk about that. And in today's episode, we are very briefly going to touch base on Glassnode's weekly insight and CoinShares weekly blog. Now personally, I do prefer CoinShares weekly blog because they do provide a macro level screenshot of what has happened in the last week. Now based on that, we cannot make any predictions as to what's going to happen in the world of cryptocurrencies, but it just gives an indication of what has happened in the previous week. Now there is some massive drama going on regarding FTX exchange, and there are rumors that it could be moving into insolvency, so we'll be very briefly talking about that. So essentially where the drama started was that CoinDesk published the balance sheet of FTX's sister company, that is Alameda Research, and that created a massive chaos for FTX exchange. So we'll be talking about that in today's episode. Corey Clipston, who's the CEO of investment platform Swan Bitcoin, he has said it's fascinating to see that the majority of the net equity in Alameda business is actually FTX's own centrally controlled and printed out of thin air. Now I'm not personally a fan of Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX exchange or its centralized blockchain protocol called Solana, so we'll be talking about that quite a bit. Now this story might uncover in the next couple of days, so I'm hoping this does not turn out to be like the Terra Luna situation, but in the cryptocurrency world, you absolutely cannot tell. Now regarding UAE, we have 2 news, and the first news is regarding a FinTech Abu Dhabi festival, and the event takes place between the 14th and 18th of November, and they're going to be talking about transforming the future of finance, and surprisingly, one of the cricketing legends, that is Shikhar Dhawan, will also be at that event, and I'll be giving out a list of speakers who will be at that event, some really good speakers. There is also another event taking place in Dubai that is on the 28th and 30th of November, and this event is called as Decipher, and it is hosted by Al Ghurair Foundation. So both the events that are taking place are really good and informative, so I'll be going ahead and giving my thoughts and opinions on what the sessions are going to be all about. And guys, regarding the cryptocurrency market, surprisingly, the global crypto market is pretty much the same as it was yesterday, but there's been some drastic movement so far as Bitcoin is concerned and stablecoin is concerned. So we'll be exploring that in just a few minutes. So let's kickstart today's episode. So welcome everyone, it's 18 here in Dubai and you're listening to Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. And how the series of episodes in the Crypto and Coffee at 8 works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other 2 news and information is related to Dubai, UAE and Middle East and the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse, and this is followed by Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions from the cryptocurrency world. And guys, every Fridays, I do have an episode called Metaverse Everything, where we solely focus on Metaverse. So please check out those episodes as well. And the format for Metaverse Everything podcast is completely different. And what I tend to do is I tend to publish a daily and weekly report via my LinkedIn profile. So please follow me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn profile is in the show notes below. But before we kickstart today's episode, we have an important message, so check this out. Firstly guys, Startup OI is global one tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events, and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in Metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, the 10th edition of the world-renowned flagship, that is Global Blockchain Congress by Agora Group, is taking place on November 23rd and 24th at Sofitel, Dubai, the Palm, and there will be more than 60 speakers, 150 investors, 30 sponsors, and these sponsors offer metaverse, gaming, NFTs, and DeFi projects looking to raise funds, 20 media partners, and more than 300 delegates. So listen guys, if you're a blockchain startup looking to raise funds, join Agora on this special edition on the Global Blockchain Congress and have a one-to-one meeting with pre-qualified investors. And this edition's main themes are digital assets regulations in the GCC, Web3 platforms, metaverse, gaming, and NFTs. Now remember guys, the spots are limited, so register online via the link in the show notes below, or go to Agora's LinkedIn page, or go to the website. All the details are in the show notes below. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called Rise in the Obstacle Course Race. And Rise in the Obstacle Course Race podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan Race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gov Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs. And these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing, go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform and search for Rise in the Obstacle Course Race podcast. And finally guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet. And this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in. And Ledger Wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France. And Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers 2 hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below. Now, since you've taken care of that, let's look at the global crypto market on the 8th of November. Now, guys, I'm in Dubai, and I'm looking at these numbers in the early morning hours as per Gulf Standard Time. Now today, there's a massive event taking place in the US, that is the midterm elections, and it's going to be really interesting to see how that impacts the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now since the last 24 hours though, the global crypto market is pretty much the same, but there has been some drastic movements, particularly to do with stable coins and Bitcoin, and I'll try to give my opinion if there is some kind of correlation. Now, the global crypto market is at $1.4 trillion, and since the last 24 hours, it has marginally gone down by 0.98%, less than 1%. And the total crypto market over the last 24 hours is $91.53 billion. That makes it an increase of 49.49%. Now, guys, look, if the global crypto market is the same, but if the market volume has gone up, that just means one thing. That means there is a lot of selling going on, and the total volume in DeFi has not made much of an impact since the last 24 hours. It is down to $5.16 billion, and the total value locked is $54.61 billion, and MakerDAO accounts are 14.71%, and $8.03 billion is locked in MakerDAO protocol, and DeFi accounts for 5.63% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. Now guys, listen to this. The total crypto market volume did actually increase by roughly around $30 to $35 billion since the last 24 hours. And the volume of stable coins has also increased by roughly $30 to $35 billion. And as of today, 8th of November, the volume of stablecoins is $85.07 billion. Now, if you dig the details further, the only volume that has increased considerably since the last 24 hours is that of Tether USDT. As of today, out of the $85.07 billion, Tether USDT accounts for $71.61 billion, and the price of Bitcoin has actually gone down. So this is what my interpretation is. Since the last 24 hours, people have sold a lot of Bitcoins and they have bought a lot of Tether USDT. Short and sweet, simple explanation. Now why that is, I really am not sure. Could it be because of the midterm elections or the threat of CPI numbers where the inflation numbers would be out? It would be really interesting to see how the market reacts post midterm and post the 10th of November when the CPI numbers are out. So the volume of stablecoins is at $85.07 billion, and out of that $85.07 billion, Tether USDT accounts for $71.61 billion. USDC's volume has marginally increased and it is currently at $3.50 billion, and Binance USD's volume did increase by roughly $3 billion, and as of today it is at $8.99 billion, and the volume of stablecoin accounts for 92.95% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. So since the last 24 hours, the volume of stablecoins has gone up by roughly $30 to $35 billion, and majority of the increase is because of Tether USDT, and at the same time, a lot of the Bitcoin volume has increased, and I'll be talking about the 24-hour trading volume, but the price of Bitcoin has gone down, which means people have sold a lot of Bitcoin and transferred the funds into Tether USDT. So looks like stablecoins, or Tether USDT in particular, is turning out to be a safe haven. Now guys, the next metric that I'm going to be discussing are the top 3 best performing assets since the last 24 hours and the top 3 worst performing assets. Now this is no way saying that these projects are great. Often these projects are often shitcoins. So I'm going to be talking about the top 3 best performing assets since the last 24 hours. And the first protocol is Hashflow, which is up by 418%. I have no idea what this protocol is. The second one is called Silo, which is up by 47.30%. And the third one is called DXB, and it is up by 23.10%. To be honest, I have no idea what these 3 protocols are. Now the top 3 worst performing assets. The first protocol is LBRY Credits, and it is down by 33.70%. And the second one is Goldfinch, and I believe I did talk about this as the best performing assets yesterday, so I really am not sure, but nonetheless, it is down by 23.10%, and Fala Network is down by 21.40%. So these 6 protocols or projects that I discussed is no way an indication that these are good or ideal. I'm just giving out the information as to what are the best 3 performing assets and the worst 3 performing assets. And historically, these are often shit coins. They often follow the pump and dump rule. So please do not take this as any investment advice. On the contrary, try to understand these protocols on what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. Now let's look at the market share, 24-hour trading volume, and dominance between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now Bitcoin's market share is at $400 billion, a little bit over 50% of that of Ethereum, and Ethereum's market share is at $195 billion. Now if you look at the 24-hour trading volume, Bitcoin's 24-hour trading volume has gone up to $52.5 billion. So clearly, people have been selling Bitcoin a lot, and Ethereum's 24-hour trading volume is down to $15.3 billion. And if you look at the dominance, Bitcoin's dominance has actually gone down, and it is down to 38.50%, whereas Ethereum's dominance is at 18.80%. So guys, what I do think that this particular weekend is going to be really interesting to see how the cryptocurrency market reacts. What are your price predictions? Mention them in the comments below. Now, if you look at the price of Bitcoin, since the last 24 hours, it is down by 1.52%, and it is currently at $20,864. Now, since the last 7 days, though, it is up by 2.37%. Ethereum is currently at $1,603. Since the last 24 hours, it is down by 0.36%. And since the last 7 days, it is up by 2.45%. Binance Coin is at $342. And since the last 24 hours, it's down by 2.92%. And since the last 7 days, it is up by 4.53%. And then you're going to be talking about the FTX drama. We'll also discuss what CZ has to say regarding FTX exchange, because there is some drama going on between Binance and FTX exchange, and Sam Bankman-Fried is trying to convince the people that FTX exchange and Solana blockchain protocol are relatively safe. But guys, let's kickstart today's episode by discussing the crucial week where the CPI numbers and midterm elections are going on. Now, what are your election predictions? Mention them in the comments below. And one thing which I've often talked about is politics and politicians, at least for now, do have a massive impact in the trajectory and direction of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. It might take at least a couple of decades by when that thing disappears and Bitcoin acts as a medium between separation of money and the state. I really am not sure at this point of time where the election results will be out, but let's say if the right wing or Republicans do take control of the Senate, there is a very high possibility that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will be in green, and there might be some indication of bullish market ahead. But this week is going to be really interesting, and the consumer price index will be out on the 10th of November, and inflation could severely impact the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And guys, make sure that you only look at Bureau of Labor Statistics. Now, a lot of misleading information is often published by mainstream media. So the October 2022 CPI data is scheduled to be released on November 10th at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And guys, one thing which I did mention in my podcast a few days ago, whenever the inflation numbers are out, the prices in cryptocurrencies tend to remain the same. But roughly after 4 to 5 hours, when mainstream media picks up these news, they give their own interpretation. That news has a massive impact on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. That's one of the reasons why I'm constantly saying, make sure you look at information from the first source. Now, in today's episode, we are very briefly going to touch base upon two technical analysis and Glassnodes. They tend to provide a weekly insight every Mondays. And this week's weekly insight states, Bitcoin faces strong resistance as it approaches several key on-chain cost bases. So if you're into charts and graphs, do look at that information, because the article talks about the USD wealth held by young coins is at an all-time low, representing only 10% of the network realized gap. And they've also started a new metric called as Hodl Wave Dynamics. So if you're into charts and graphs, I would definitely recommend you guys to go ahead and check through it. And they do have a YouTube channel as well, which talks a lot about technical analysis. But one of my favorite is CoinShares, and they tend to provide a weekly blog every Mondays via Medium. And the blog discusses mixed sentiment following the FOMC announcement last week. Ideally, this should not be the case because the FOMC meeting is kind of the same news of the CPI numbers. But because the FOMC meeting is often done 2 to 3 weeks after the CPI numbers are announced, it does have an impact on the global market. Now, the blog also confirms that digital asset investment products saw minor inflows totaling $15.6 million, and Bitcoin saw outflows totaling $13 million for the week. Now, with CPI numbers out on the 10th, it'll be really critical to see what the inflows and outflows for the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are. And in the last 24 hours, I do see that people have sold a lot of Bitcoins in particular. The prices of Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies are relatively the same. Now guys, let's talk about some drama that is going on between FTX. So what is going on and what is the rumor? The whole news started when CoinDesk published the balance sheet of FTX sister company called Alameda Research. That had a lot of information of what FTX exchange has been doing. So the FTX's native exchange called FTT seems to be created out of thin air. And Corey Clipston, who is the CEO of investment platform called Swan Bitcoin, said, "It's fascinating to see the majority of the net equity in Alameda business is actually FTX's own centrally controlled and printed out of thin air. So it looks like Sam Bankman-Fried's sister company Alameda Research did create FTX exchange out of thin air, and all of the backing is based on nothing, just created out of thin air. And this is extremely scary, and this has had a massive impact on FTX exchange and Sam Bankman-Fried. And this turmoil surrounding the cryptocurrency exchange FTX has made the users scary, and they are trying to withdraw funds. But at the same time, user withdrawal complaints are taking a massive toll in FTX, and rumors emerged about the former exchange becoming insolvent and holding an illiquid balance sheet. So it could be possible that Sam Bankman-Fried is just manipulating data. So where there is fire, there is always smoke. And guys, in the cryptocurrency world, there are speculations mounted over the weekend about the solvency of extreme left-leaning billionaire Sam Bankman-Fried. And a few weeks ago, we also talked about how some shorting was taking place in the FTX exchange, and there were rumors that Sam Bankman-Fried did actually lose roughly around $500 to $600 million. Now, what the worrisome thing for me is, guys, when I look at the information on all mainstream media, I'm unable to find this information. Now, could it be possible that Sam Bankman-Fried does also own a couple of these online publications? Because when you go to Cointelegraph or when you go to any leading mainstream media so far as cryptocurrency is concerned, this news is not being shown. Now, could it be possible that Sam Bankman-Fried does partially own some of these online publications? Knowing the left-leaning politicians and left-leaning ideologies, I do think that that could be possible. And this news is also having an impact on centralized blockchain protocol Solana. And Sam Bankman-Fried did actually buy a lot of the crypto tokens of Solana and save the protocol. And in the past, they have notoriously stopped producing blocks, and they have made a centralized decision. Now, News BTC did publish an article that states because of this news, Solana has plunged by over 12%. Now, what Sam Bankman-Fried and Solana blockchain can do is they can stop producing blocks. They can even maybe stop users from selling the protocol. So really, really scary stuff. And there is another article by News BTC which states, exchange has seen a 47 drop in on-chain balance. Now, this is really, really scary. So, most likely, guys, over the next coming days, this news could materialize. And the timing of this is extremely, extremely bad. Guys, there is a massive news about CZ, and he's having some kind of argument with Sam Bankman-Fried as well. So the news is that Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao, or CZ, threw an unexpected roundhouse at rival exchange FTX on Sunday. So Binance did decide to dump all the tokens, and it was just a matter of prudence alluding to a leaked balance sheet that showed FTX's sister company, that is Alameda Research, held a large portion in FTT. So it looks like CZ doesn't want to do anything with FTX exchange. Now, when FTX did try to raise funds, I believe Binance and CZ did have a lot of investments in them, and they were promised X number of tokens. And Binance CZ did mention via Twitter that he's planning to take all those tokens and completely liquidate it, and he probably does not want anything to do with FTX exchange. And Sam Bankman-Fried just a few hours ago took to Twitter and said that a competitor is trying to go after us with false rumors, and FTX is fine. Now, a lot of the FTX customers are really upset, and they do want to actually withdraw funds, and they are facing a lot of delay. Usually the withdrawals used to take a couple of minutes, but there have been rumors that the withdrawals are taking well over 4 to 5 hours. And he also mentioned via Twitter that FTX has enough to cover all client holdings, and we don't invest client assets even in treasuries, and they have been processing all withdrawals and will continue to do so. Now, guys, I'm really hoping that FTX exchange does not turn out to be another black swan event for the cryptocurrency space, because there are a lot of rumors circulating in Twitter right now that FTX exchange was using the customers' funds, and they were utilizing that to buy other businesses and other companies. And if you go to the rabbit hole, and they created all of this out of thin air by issuing FTX token. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this thing materializes. And once again, and the timing of this could not be absolutely worse. There is midterm elections which is taking place today, and 10th is the CPI numbers. So this weekend, I believe there's going to be a lot of drama, particularly for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now, guys, let's talk about 2 news regarding UAE. But before we move on to 2 crypto and blockchain news regarding UAE, I have 2 news regarding obstacle course race in UAE. The first news is about Spartan Race, and they have a massive event in December, the World Championship. And this is the second time they have the World Championship event in Abu Dhabi. And guys, I have a standalone episode with Spartan Race founder Joe Cena talking about Spartan Race NFT. And Sean, who's the Chief Technology Officer, was also in the podcast. And Calvin, who's one of the OGs in the NFT space, was at the podcast as well. So we discussed from a business point of view, why did Spartan Race decide to go ahead and launch its NFT, what were the challenges, and quite a lot more. So please check out those episodes. It is a standalone episode talking more about NFTs and not so much regarding obstacle course race. And the second message is also about obstacle course race and my favorite one, that is Tough Mudder. And listen guys, I'm on a mission to do my 100th Tough Mudder, so check both the messages now. The first message is from Spartan. Now Spartan is a global fitness brand with 10 million strong community. They create transformational events, experiences, products and content to help people, companies and teams tear down boundaries and expand what they believe to be possible. From day one, nearly 2 decades ago, they've been champions of human transformation and they live to help people get outside, eat healthy and develop habits that lead to a life of constant progress. With families of brands, they push people from every corner of the globe outside the comfort zone and immerse them in a world of tough fitness and elite sports. Now they do this because you can face and overcome adversity head on and your potential is limitless. Now this year in December in Abu Dhabi, the land of Gazelle, thousands of athletes and spectators will gather at the metropolis in the desert to compete for Spartan immortality. This is a unique opportunity to watch the world's best obstacle course race athletes compete for world championship and have your group conquer the course themselves. The massive event takes place from the 2nd till the 4th of December this year. Now for Spartan World Championship, the ticket details and registration to the programs are mentioned in the links below. Now if you are into running, if you are into adventure, and if you are in UAE, you definitely need to check this out. And the second news, guys, is about Tough Mudder. Now listen guys, there are 3 things that I'm extremely passionate about. All 3 of them have some kind of similarity, that is heavy metal, Bitcoin and obstacle course race. Now we've looked at the premier obstacle course race event, that is Spartan Race, which is taking place between the 2nd and 4th of December. But the next one that I'd like to discuss is Tough Mudder. Now Tough Mudder is unique and I did my very first obstacle course race, that was Tough Mudder. And Tough Mudder obstacles are more fun, more adventurous and it involves a lot of teamwork. And you can also use my promo code, which is George25, for a 25% discount. Now if you are into running, if you are into adventure, if you are into obstacle course race, you definitely need to sign up for this event. So go to the website toughmudderarabia.com and you can also follow them on Instagram. The Instagram handle is toughmudderarabia. Now since we've taken care of that, let's look at the first news from UAE. The first news is about FinTech Abu Dhabi Festival, and the event takes place between the 14th till the 18th of November, and the event is called Transforming the Future of Finance. So the website, guys, if you do want to get more information, is www.adgm.com/events/Abu Dhabi Finance Week. So let me try to give some more information. So the Abu Dhabi Finance Week is a week-long engagement addressing a spectrum of economic issues, financial technology and innovation, startup and enterprise, venture funding and investment, asset management and capital markets, economic policy and regulation. And the key theme for this particular event is Abu Dhabi Finance Week will present a spectrum of events that will unite key themes from the world of finance on one mega platform. So there are 4 core areas that they're focusing on. That is fintech, crypto, race, and I'm going to explain what race is, and startup campus. And the 2022 edition of Crypto Abu Dhabi will explore the next era of digital assets as the technologies experience the growing pains and world with shaping through innovation. The agenda of the conference will focus on the underlying blockchain and cryptographic technologies that drive the innovation and why financial products are served by the application. The agenda will also focus on how major global institutions are now developing digital strategies and how the tokenization of private assets will open up a new multi-trillion-dollar democratized opportunity for investors globally and why regulation is on the horizon. So let me try to give you some more information about what the core themes are, because the Abu Dhabi Finance Week will present a spectrum of events that will unite key themes from the world of finance on one mega platform. And the first area is fintech, so they're going to explore the intersection between finance and technologies, as well as the opportunities that exist in the new age finance. And so far as crypto is concerned, they're going to discover the long-term growth and development of crypto, blockchain, NFTs, tokenization, and DeFi or decentralized finance. And they also have a section called as RACE. So RACE stands for regulation, awareness, collaboration, and ecosystem. So the whole idea is to get a better understanding of all these core areas, which are the key components for true sustainability. And regarding Startup Campus, you will be able to interact with the bright minds in the startup ecosystem with a platform to discuss funding, scaling up and building the next generation of unicorns. So if you are in UAE, this is definitely a must event. And there are some really strong heavy duty speakers in this particular event. So I'm just going to read out some of the speakers who I think will be brilliant to have listen to. One is CZ from Binance, who's the CEO, and we also have the CEO of G42 and the CEO of Baidu, who will also be at that event. But one of my favorite speakers will be Dr. Doom Honorul Rubini, and he's the chief economist of Atlas Capital. Now listen guys, if you have been in the cryptocurrency space since a very long time, you need to know that Dr. Honorul Rubini is not at all an advocate of Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. As a matter of fact, he might be one of the biggest detractors of blockchain and cryptocurrencies, but all of the things that he says is, if not absolutely brilliant. And guys, at the event, there's also a surprising guest called as Shikhar Dhawan. If you're a cricket fanatic, you need to know Shikhar Dhawan. He's the captain of the Indian one-day international team. Now, he's going to be representing One Global, and he's also the general partner of the company, so definitely brilliant speaker at the event. Kevin O'Leary, he's going to be at that event as well. Another one of my speakers is David Shom. Now listen guys, if you have been in the Bitcoin space, you need to know who David Shom is. He's, if not one of the OGs of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And a few days ago, I also talked about how Satoshi Nakamoto also thanked David Shom. So just listening to him will be a treat at that event. And there are a couple of other guys like Robert Mitchnick, who's the head of digital assets from BlackRock. And I've often said that BlackRock is a leading giant with, I believe, over $10 trillion in assets under management. And Henry Aslanian, who's a co-founder of managing partner, and he used to be the head of PwC, but he started his own firm called as 9 Blocks Capital Management. And he does have a YouTube channel, and he's quite active, and he does provide quite a lot of useful information. So he's going to be at that event too. And Simone Maney, who's the CEO of Elliptic, is going to be at that event as well. So brilliant speakers. There's also going to be the director of Binance in the MENA region called as Vishal Sachindran. So brilliant speakers. Now, if you are in UAE, you definitely need to attend. Guys, there is another event taking place in the month of November in Medina, Jumeirah, called as Decipher 2022, which talks about the latest Web3 news about interoperability, DeFi, NFTs, and quite a lot more. And one of the speakers at that event is Silvio Misali. Now, if you don't know who Silvio Misali is and what contribution he has had to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology in general, you definitely need to look it up. And he's the founder of Algorand. And along with him, there's Benjamin Ampman, who's the current CEO of Kraken MENA. And Sam Bankman-Fried will also be there at that event, so it's going to be really interesting to hear them talk. And there's also going to be Richard Tang, who's a regional head of MENA from Binance. There's quite a lot more, but these are some of the speakers that I'll be really keen to listen to at the Decipher 22 event. Now, let me give you some more information of what the Decipher 2022 event is. It is organized by Algorand Foundation. Decipher 2022 is the second annual gathering of builders, founders, investors, and strategists deciphering the future of Algorand, and you can hear from the leaders throughout and beyond the Algorand ecosystem, visionary founders of top projects, prolific builders, award-winning cryptographers, strategic investors, and innovative creators, and you can learn about the latest developer tools, protocol upgrades, and white space opportunities for builders, plus sessions on blockchain, interoperability, financial inclusions, DeFi, NFTs, gaming, and metaverse, and quite a lot more. Now, if you do want to find out more information, I would really recommend you to go ahead and understand what the Algorand blockchain is, and you will be able to make new connections, strengthen and grow Algorand community, and leave inspired for the future. And guys, Silvio Micali is one of the OGs in the space, and Silvio Micali is an Italian computer scientist and a professor at the MIT Institute, and also the founder of Algorand. In 2012, he did receive the Turing Award for his work on cryptography. If you're to cryptography, you have David Shom, you have Silvio Micali, absolutely brilliant stuff. I definitely will be attending both the events, and in case if you guys are at the event, definitely drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. So that's all for today, guys, on the Crypto and Coffee Update from Blockchain DXB. In case if you guys have any feedback or suggestions, please drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com and check out my website www.blockchaindxb.com And also check out my other website, area2071.com, that talks everything about Metaverse. And if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Now for the next few minutes is going to be an Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So let's get started with the Ask Me Anything series. Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB. You're listening to the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And how the series of episodes of the Crypto and Coffee Date works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other two news and information is related to Dubai, UAE and Middle East, and the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions from the cryptocurrency world. I have a question by Joanne who asks, in your last episode you said Dubai is a red ocean. What do you mean by that, and can you please elaborate on that? Yes, Joanne, what I mean by that is, when you talk about blue ocean, it is ideally an area where there is no competition, or the competition does not exist at all. And when you talk about Dubai and UAE right now in the world of cryptocurrencies, in the world of Web3 and Metaverse, all of the top leading companies and pretty much everyone in the UAE is aware about Bitcoin and what Dubai is doing. That's one of the reasons why at this point of time I do think that Dubai is not a blue ocean, Dubai is a red ocean. So when you talk about red ocean, it means think of it like an ocean filled with a lot of sharks. And sharks are biting each other, and that's the reason why the color of the ocean turns into red, which means that there is a lot of competition going on. That is great because that just means from a consumer or user's point of view, the only thing that I can look forward for is cheaper and better products and much better customer service. In case of blue ocean where there is no competition, it's the company which has the monopoly. They get to decide the price. They can also lay back so far as the customer experience is concerned. So let me do one thing, Joanne. Let me try to look at the actual definition of blue ocean and red ocean. So just one quick second. Okay, so I do have, Joanne, the official definition of blue ocean. So blue ocean strategy is the simultaneous pursuit of differentiation and low cost to open up a new market space and create new demand. So it is essentially about creating and capturing uncontested market space. Thereby, the market competition is irrelevant, which means there is just one seller in the market. Now, if you know in Dubai right now, you have Crypto.com, you have Kraken in Abu Dhabi, you have Binance, you have Bybit. You pretty much have all the top cryptocurrency exchange in Dubai and in UAE. And because of that, right now we are in the red ocean. And what we mean by red ocean, let me give you the definition, Joanne, of that. Red oceans are all the industries in existence today, the known market space. The industry boundaries are defined and companies try to outperform their rivals to grab a greater share of the existing market. Cutthroat competition turns the ocean bloody red, hence the term red ocean. Now from a consumer's point of view, and one thing which I did mention a few minutes ago, this is great, which just means that businesses will be competing on two things. One is price, and the second one is quality. So as a consumer, I can expect cheaper price or maybe even free services. At the same time, if let's say I'm unhappy with one cryptocurrency exchange, I can easily switch to another cryptocurrency exchange. So that is what I mean by red ocean. And you know, Joanne, one thing that I noticed in Dubai, in 2016 when I used to talk to them about Bitcoin, they used to give me a kind of smirk in the face as though I'm trying to sell them something. But now when I talk to them about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, they are quite eager to understand what is Bitcoin. And I believe people in Dubai and UAE have got a fairly good understanding of what cryptocurrencies are, what blockchain technologies are. Now, having red ocean just means that there is a lot of competition, and cutthroat competition does turn the ocean bloody red. Now, so far as blue ocean is concerned, what I feel right now could be Saudi Arabia. So if you are a startup or a business entity trying to look at no competition, so it becomes easier for you to set up your operation, an area probably is Saudi Arabia. And that's where an area where I do think at this point of time, you could have economies of scale. But as and when the news gets mainstream, and a lot of companies do move into Saudi Arabia, that area could eventually turn into red ocean. And the project, I believe, is called as Neom in Saudi Arabia. And I'm not sure, maybe that project right now is at red ocean already or is turning into red ocean. So that's essentially what I mean, Joanne, by red ocean. So that's all for today, guys, on the Ask Me Anything series on Blockchain DXB. In case you guys have any feedback or suggestions, please drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com and check out my website, that is www.blockchaindxb.com. And guys, check out my other website, that is area2071.com, that talks everything about Metaverse. And if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. And remember, guys, Monday to Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. we have Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And how the series of episodes into Crypto and Coffee a Day works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other two news and information is related to Dubai, UAE, and Middle East in the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions from the cryptocurrency world. Thank you so much for listening, guys, and have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.